training. If at any point in time you have any questions, please email them to us at webinars@remn.com, and we will make sure to answer all your questions and send them out to the group after the call. So without further ado, let's get started. My name is Steve Rizzetta. I am the Renovation Lending Manager here at REMN Wholesale, and today I will be your presenter. I know a lot of you have been on my other calls for 203K and the Homestyle program. Today's call will be a little similar, but with a new wrinkle. Today we're doing the VA renovation. So there's going to be a lot of the same material, but some different material. Point being, if you've done a 203K or a Homestyle, this will seem familiar to you. You just need to know the nuts and bolts now of the VA renovation. But we also do have some newbies on the call, new to renovation as a whole. So for you, this will also be a very ground level basic training. So what are we going to cover today? What's on today's agenda? Well, we'll discuss, again, what is a VA Reno, how it benefits our veterans, our mortgage brokers, our real estate agents, our contractors, our HUD consultants. What is the process flow on a file? How do we determine a loan amount? We'll talk a little bit about the specifics of the VA Reno program. What can you do for work and what you can't do? And then we'll talk lastly about how to get started on your first VA Reno. Two things we will not talk about today. We will not talk about other lenders' guidelines. So for today's call, keep in mind, these guidelines are specific to REMN Wholesale. I cannot speak to other lenders out there. I do know other lenders have different guidelines, but today's call will be only specific to REMN Wholesale. And we will not really go over borrower eligibility, income, assets, any of that stuff, because that's going to be the same as any other VA purchase or refinance that you do. It will be the exact same. Today we will only go over the renovation piece. So let's talk first and foremost, what is a VA Reno? Well, a VA Reno loan allows military veterans the ability to finance up to 100% of either a home purchase or a home refinance and up to $35,000 in total renovation costs. Keep in mind that $35,000 is not just the bid. That also includes a contingency fee, inspection fees, permit fees, and any other fees that may come along with the renovation. This product is for minor remodeling and non-structural repairs only. So unlike the 203K or the Fannie Mae Homestyle, where we can do big room additions, we can do a lot of structural work, this is not for the VA Reno loan. We want smaller jobs under 35K. So take a look at this graphic we have here. We illustrate that you can include your purchase price or your mortgage payoff on a refinance. We can add in necessary improvements or borrower wants. Roll that all together in one single mortgage with one single closing and one single fixed payment over a fixed term. We offer a majority of these loans as a 30-year fixed term, but we also can go all the way down to 15 years. So we are baking in, again, the renovation cost into the mortgage. The loan is based off the as completed or subject to or after improved appraised value. So that means we're handing the appraiser the scope of work and they're coming back with the after improved value. What will the home be worth after the work has been completed? The renovation work begins after closing. So anyone new to a renovation loan, you should know that the work isn't being done prior to closing, it's being done after closing. After you've been paid, after your real estate agent has been paid, after your HUD consultant hopefully has been paid, right? So 90 days to complete the work for REMN Wholesale. The thing about a renovation loan on a 203K or a home style that everyone out there should know is that on the lender side, the loan is insurable after closing on a 203K or home style. With a VA Reno, it is not insurable until all the work has been completed. That is why we are a little bit more strict for 90 days to completion. Once the loan closes, REMN's draw department will handle the disbursements to the contractor. And if you're a mortgage broker out there, you are not getting involved in this. Once the loan closes, you've been paid, and REMN's draw team will take over. And as I mentioned before, we won't get into borrower eligibility, but the VA Renovation has similar income, asset, and credit underwriting criteria. So if you know how to do a VA purchase or a VA refinance already, the VA Reno is just adding the renovation piece, which we will go over in more detail once you have a live file, but today we will touch on what you need to know. So let's talk about the benefits. Okay, first and foremost, we have our veterans, right? They've served our country. They deserve 100% financing, right? That's what we're giving them. We're giving them the ability to do 100% financing and add some value or equity to their home. Right now, there's a shortage of new housing in the market, and sales prices are going up. So your veterans might not be able to afford, the picture perfect, ready to go home. They might need to look a little lower in price at an imperfect home that has some flaws that we might be able to fix and make that a dream home, right? So this offers veterans the ability to come with no money down, 100% financing, purchase, refinance, and fix up a home, okay, in the right neighborhood and make the home of their dreams. Again, they get one fixed rate, so they can finance 20 grand of a renovation over 30 years versus having to pay it off, in 5 or, 1 year or whatever it may be. And they can borrow off the after improved value. So unlike other types of financing for renovations, where you are only using the as-is value, in this case, we're going off the after improved value, which allows a little bit more in terms of how much you can borrow. Real estate agents. Okay, for real estate agents, you have the ability to move homes faster. So again, going back to that imperfect home or that home with a dated kitchen, why not promote this product to your potential home buyers and say, hey, look, we can renovate that kitchen and make this home worth your while, right? You'll see a little bit more interest in that home once you start pushing renovation programs, and more specifically, VA renos to your veterans. Contractors, we know for sure that money is set aside, right? As long as you do the work, you will get paid. Unlike just doing, work or a contract between you and a homeowner where that homeowner refuses to pay you, with a VA renovation loan, that money is set aside in an escrow account, and it is yours as long as you perform the work you said you would do, okay? And we're also giving your clients who may not necessarily have the funds to pay for that renovation on their own with cash or with credit, we're giving them the access to these funds through their mortgage. And again, if contractors do a good job, they like this program and you work well with them, they may refer you business for the next home buyer that walks through their doors and needs renovations. And lastly, for our mortgage brokers out there, this is a huge tool. If you're already doing a lot of VA loans, this is another way to differentiate yourself. Not everybody out there is doing this program. Okay, this is still kind of a relatively new program, and it's just starting to pick up. And with REMN Wholesale, we're just starting to see a lot more come through the door, and people are getting used to this program. They have been, through the 203K process and the home style process by now, and they are looking to explore this other avenue for more income. So if you already are getting veterans and doing a lot of VA loans, this is something you need to add to the toolbox. Specifically when that appraisal comes back and there's stuff that needs to be fixed, this is a solution program, okay? Increased commissions, okay, we're adding a little bit of money to the loan amount, so in turn your commission should be increased. And you do have the potential for a second refinance loan 6 months down the road. After 6 months payments, you might be able to, if the rates are in line, be able to do a VA IRRRL and refinance that borrower out of their VA Reno rate. And again, if you do a great job, all the veterans will tell their friends, and next thing you know, you'll be the VA Reno specialist in your area, which we all want. All right, so what is an eligible property? Well, we want completed homes. We don't want homes that are still under construction, and we're only allowing this on 1-unit primary residences. We can do VA-approved condos, and we also can do manufactured homes as well. On condos, we can only do work within the walls, no exterior work whatsoever. Ineligible, we can't do homes that, again, have never been completed, can't do greater than 1-unit properties. We can't do repairs for properties with huge health and safety issues, and we can't do properties located within electrical line easements. So let's talk about some of the basics in terms of max LTV, occupancy, loan amount, and credit and down payment underwriting. So for your purchase and your refinance, keep in mind we can go to 100% loan to value. So on a purchase, we can do either the lesser of the purchase price plus reno costs or the after improved value. And on a refinance, we can do the lesser of the payoff plus rental costs plus closing costs, also including the funding fee or the after improved value. And we can dive into that calculation a little bit further once we have a live deal and you talk with myself or your AE about the specifics, and we will dive into a max mortgage worksheet. Occupancy, again, owner occupied, 1 unit only. Loan amount, we can go up to the VA limit for the area that you're located in or the subject property is located in. So check the high balance loan limits if you're in a high balance area, or your conforming limits if you're in a conforming area. And down payment and credit underwriting. So we're going to follow our standard VA guidelines for both of these. So talk to your rep or myself after the call and we can discuss. But I would say wait till you have a live scenario and we can discuss a little further. One thing that we have added recently is the cash out option. So until just recently, you were only able to refinance. Well, we were only able to do purchases on VA Renos. Then we added the refinance option, and now we've added the cash out refinance option where we can take out some more cash to pay off borrower debts to qualify. So we can't take out cash in hand, but if we need to get that DTI in line and we do need to pay off some debts, we can we can cash out. And that is a new addition to our guidelines, and we've successfully done many loans with that cash out option to qualify borrowers that normally wouldn't qualify. So now let's talk about our 35K threshold. And we have a live example here with a contractor's bid of $20,000, a 10% contingency of $2,000. So keep in mind, on every VA renovation deal, we're going to add a contingency fee. Okay, that's for just in case money, just in case the contractor overruns, just in case the contractor pulls back a wall and finds something that's needed to be done in addition. We do 10% typically, and we also mandate 15% when the utilities are off on the property. There may be some permits involved on a VA renovation. Those permits, we need to know how long those permits will take to obtain. It can't take 3 months to obtain the permits because you only have 3 months to do the work. So when we do these renovation loans, we need to know in writing from the contractor, or if the HUD consultant's involved, how long it's going to take to get those permits. Inspection fees. Okay, so this has to do with post-closing. All right, what's being done post-closing? Well, we either have the original appraiser inspecting the work, or we have a HUD consultant inspecting the work, and we need to pay those parties. So in this scenario, we have $400 for inspection fees. And then once all the work has been wrapped up, we do one title update fee, and we charge $95 here at REMN Wholesale. All in all, our total renovation costs are in line at $23,495. So this is a great scenario so long as there is no structural work being done, and the contractor can guarantee they can complete the work within 90 days. So let's talk about what you can do in terms of work. And here's just a list. I'm going to run through it real quick. We can replace or repair roof, gutters, and downspouts, repair, replacement of flooring, basically any modernization job, remodeling on kitchens and baths. We can, skipping down a little further, we can repair driveways. Okay, it is important to note that with driveways, we need to make sure that the weather permits it to be done. So it's getting into the cold season in some areas. You might not be able to go out and do a driveway until it gets warm out. That is going to be a problem. So we'll have to review that stuff on a case-by-case scenario. You can, with a VA Reno, purchase and install appliances. So if you are upgrading your kitchen, you can do freestanding ranges, refrigerators, dishwashers, and microwave ovens. Does not need to necessarily be built in. And for veterans with disabilities, hey, we might be able to, give you a ramp, right? And remove those stairs and put in a ramp to make your home more accessible. What can't we do? Well, we can't do, again, major repairs. So we can't do things that have any structural work involved. We can't do anything really outdoors, like landscaping. We can't do room additions. We can't do the relocation of load-bearing walls. We can't do anything that would prevent the borrower from occupying the property within 15 days of closing. So if there's a repair that we're trying to do and the borrower can't move in for 30 days, well, we can't do it. We need the borrower to be able to move in within 15 days of closing. That's very important. Okay. Any repairs that really involve a HUD consultant to be involved in, where it's, structural work or, extreme repairs or improvements that need architectural plans, we can't do it. Now, I will say that we do encourage consultants on our VA rental loans It does make your lives easier as mortgage brokers. I know a lot of you out there will mandate for your companies that every loan officer get a HUD consultant report on a 203K or home style. I highly suggest doing the same for a VA Reno. Although on a VA Reno, we are going to want to see the bid as well, unlike our home style and 203K, where we only accept the consultant's report. On a VA Reno, if we do get a HUD consultant's report, we will allow them to do the draws on the back end. We will allow them to do the report on the front end, but we also do want the contractor's bid because that's ultimately what we're going to use. Any and all exterior work, again, we'll have to consider that on a case-by-case basis because, you know, we want to make sure it can be done weather permitting, right? So a lot of this stuff, again, is flexible. If you look at the bottom of this slide, basically we will review for exceptions on work on a case-by-case basis. Nothing here is 100% set in stone, so we are able to go over the $35,000 limit if it makes sense. We are able to do certain work outdoors if it makes sense. Things that we really can't do are anything structural. So just again, to recap, we like to keep it at $35,000. Our repairs are limited to cosmetic updates, improvements, as well as mechanical repairs such as utilities and plumbing. We don't want structural repairs or improvements. And again, we can't stress it enough. We want everything to be done within 90 days of closing. So let's talk a little bit about the process. This is very familiar to you if you've done a 203K or a home style. It's the same exact process. First, we're going to acknowledge whether it's a purchase or a refinance, and we'll get that purchase contract or that payoff. We'll choose the program. In this case, it's going to be a VA renovation loan. We'll find our contractor. We'll get their bid. We'll make sure they're licensed, insured, and experienced, and not a handyman who does unpermitted work. We do not want that. We want a qualified, reputable contractor that has references and can do the work they say they can do. And we also want them to have a VA builder ID number. So this is new to anyone who's done a 203K or a home style. The new piece here is the VA builder ID. The reality is that is a little misleading because it would make you believe that the contractor has to be a builder, when in fact they don't need to be a builder. They could be a painter, right? But that painter needs a VA builder ID to be able to do work on a VA renovation loan. And we'll talk about how they get that builder ID number in a minute. Then we will determine the loan amount. Okay, so your rep, your AE, or myself can help you out with the max mortgage worksheet. We've done those on 203Ks and home styles. Now we're doing a similar worksheet on a VA Reno. We're structuring the 3.2 and we're running DU or LP, and we're trying to get that approved eligible, and we will underwrite 2 findings. Unless we get the refer, then we can potentially do a manual underwrite. So we do allow manual underwrites on VA Reno loans. Then we'll submit the file. And just like with our other files here at REMN Wholesale, we can do a 24-hour initial underwrite or even same-day underwrite if submitted by 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next step is to order the appraisal. So we will provide the VA appraiser with the contractor's bid or the scope of work. They will come back with an after improved value. Then we'll clear the conditions and go to closing. So again, you have your familiar non-reno conditions, which you're used to doing on your VA purchases and refinances. And now we're adding the reno conditions, disclosures, contractor's bid? Is the license, approved, right? Things of that nature, nothing crazy. We just want to make sure they're an approvable contractor, their bid is in line, it matches up with the appraisal, and they've signed the right disclosures. Then we'll go to post-closing, where our renovation concierge desk will place a call out to your borrower, the contractor, and if involved, the HUD consultant. We'll get everyone on the same page about how the draw process will work, and from there the work can begin and the draws can be processed. So let's talk about contractor vetting on a VA Reno loan. Again, I mentioned that contractor, or all contractors, whether they are a new home builder or just a home improvement contractor, they need a VA builder ID number. So they need to navigate to the VA portal, and they need to fill out the paperwork necessary and submit that to the VA, and within the week, they should have a VA builder ID number. Now, it is not an extensive process. They are not meticulously looking at the contractor, as you may think. It's very simple paperwork, which any contractor out there can fill out in 5 to 10 minutes. Shoot over to the VA, and they will give you a VA builder ID. Again, within the week, I typically see they have that number. Now, it's very important that they have that VA builder ID number before the date of the bid and before ordering the appraisal. That is a VA guideline. And number 2, we will vet contractors as we typically do, with review of their license, insurance, workman's comp, general liability insurance. We will review their profile, which includes, references of past work they've done and clients. And we will also want to see their 2018 W-9. At REMN Wholesale, we do have a PDF, which we will send to you after the call. We call it our contractor's guide. It has a checklist for the contractor of all the items they need to provide: license, insurance, disclosures, VA builder ID number. It has the instructions to obtain that VA builder ID number in that packet. So after the call, we will send you that contractor's guide. With regards to how many contractors, you can have up to 3 licensed contractors per file. Although I will say, for everyone out there doing these loans, you don't want that. You want one GC, right? You want one GC who can sub out the work to their subcontractors. Those subcontractors, then we don't need full paperwork on them. We don't need to pay them. We pay the GC, and they can in turn pay their subs. All we need from the subcontractors are their license and insurance. Couple things to be aware of. We already touched on this a little bit. With regards to weather conditions in the area, again, we're getting into winter time across the country, and some of the work, might not be able to be finished until after 90 days. That, again, is going to be a problem. So we do need to review those items on a case-by-case basis. But we're not saying no. We're just saying that we need to review them and make the right decision, because we do want all this work completed in 90 days. Also, appraisals. We touched on this as well. You are not ordering this appraisal through your typical AMC. There is no appraisal management company involved. Now we're dealing directly with the VA and their appraisers. So you're going to log into the VA portal and order an appraisal through the VA portal every time you do a VA renovation loan. And you will be providing that appraiser the scope of work through the bid. The appraisal cannot, again, be ordered until we have the executed contractor bids, okay, and we have the VA builder ID number. This is very important because it is a guideline. We have been tagged for it, and if it is not followed, we may ask you to order another appraisal after the builder gets that ID number. It also is worth noting that the pricing is the same on our rate sheets as the 203K program. And again, we can do fixed terms of anywhere between 15 to 30 years. Now let's talk about a little bit about post-closing. Again, we've touched on this a little bit, but it's going to be the same as your typical 203K or home style loan that you've done with us. The repairs, again, don't start until after closing and funding. Once the loan is closed, we do put the renovation funds into a special escrow account that we do handle. And the funds are not sent directly to the contractor at closing. So unlike your 203K limited, there is no 50% of the bid sent to the contractor at closing. That does not happen. What we do is similar to a 203K standard or a home style, where we can allow the contractor to get a 50% material only draw prior to the work starting. Now, for any of you who have done business with us, you also know that that 50% material only draw isn't really accessible until about 2 weeks after closing, once we've completely set up our renovation escrow account. All right, so it shouldn't be day 2 after closing where the borrower is at, or the contractor is asking us for their 50% material draw. It does take some time for that escrow account to be set up and for us to be able to cut that check. And what we will need from your contractor is an invoice of materials, and let's call it 10 grand. We will give the contractor 5 grand, okay? Each contractor is eligible for 2 draws, okay? Any inspections are completed either by the original appraiser, if they're comfortable, or we can also use a HUD consultant. So lastly, let's talk about your first VA Reno. This is similar to our 203K and our home style first Reno, okay? It's the same exact stuff, okay? We want you to get a ballpark idea of what work is being done, okay? Are they redoing the driveway? Are they upgrading the kitchen? Are they fixing the stairs? Get a ballpark idea of that work, okay? You don't necessarily need from day one a contractor's bid in hand, but get an idea of what your veteran wants to do or needs to do. Then get an estimated dollar amount of that work. Is it 10 grand? Is it 20 grand? Is it 50 grand? Okay, and that, again, starting off could be just an estimate off the top of the head, or it could be from an actual contractor's bid or a HUD consultant's report. And then we want you to get an estimated after improved value. So what will the property be worth after all this work has been completed? If you're dealing with a purchase, you can ask your realtor to look up some comps with like improvements. And after you get those 3 things, I just want you to call up your AE to discuss the scenario. I don't want you to get bogged down with all the minutia and all the details. Just call your AE and talk it out. Every renovation loan deserves a discussion up front. This should not be a loan where you're just communicating through emails. I want you to get on the phone and discuss with your AE or myself. So let's talk about why REMN. Well, again, we have the best turn times in the industry, 24-hour initial underwrites on all files, including all renovation loans. We've done the most volume, especially in 2018. We crushed it with industry renovation volume. We have the best support. We have the smartest AEs who are trained, well-versed in these programs. They all have their assistants who are also trained. We have a fantastic help desk where you can go online, submit questions, and even go to a chat feature to get live answers to your questions. And lastly, we do have a renovation concierge desk who deals with all post-closing items such as draws and anything else post-closing. And we do have an excellent marketing platform called Flyer Paradise, where you can plug in your information, put up your headshot. We can get you some cool marketing materials so you can start marketing the VA Reno. And lastly, you have me as well. Again, my name is Steve Rizzetta, and I am the lending manager here for renovation. I do renovation all day long, every day. So ask your AE to talk to me if you need. I can help you out on your approval. Once the loan is approved, we can go over the conditions, and I can really hold your hand all the way through the process. So at this point, I'd like to say thank you for attending today's webinar. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two. If you have any questions, again, please email them now to webinars@remn.com. I am a great resource for presentations to realtors, shops of mortgage brokers, anyone who will listen about these programs. So if you do have opportunities for presentations, I am willing to hear you out and do them with you or on my own if you need. But feel free to shoot us an email about any specific scenario. If you want to get set up with our marketing material and Flyer Paradise, if you need a list of contractors in your area that we've done business with, if you just want to speak to me or do a team training, I'm available for any of that stuff, guys. And please make sure to follow me on LinkedIn, where I do frequently send out updates and tips on renovation loans. So again, thank you for attending today's webinar, and have a happy Wednesday. Thanks, guys.